Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Well, today we are finally going to finish our book. Today is our last day using the 2 pages of the book. And you might be thinking, 2 pages? We might not be working that long. Alrighty, guys. So I'm going to explain to you how we're going to be working this week. Alright, so today we're doing the last 2 pages of the book, but that doesn't mean that we're finished with everything and that we're not going to work anymore. All the way from Tuesday to Friday, we're going to be reviewing some of the topics that we've seen during the bimester or the trimester, and just kind of touching them, because I know that some of them, for example, when we were talking about clever writing, and then the next day curious scientist, and then after that we were watching something different, maybe the topics, sometimes they joined each other, but we went too fast for them. So we're going to go back and review some of them. Alrighty, so we're not going to review maybe one a day. We might be reviewing one for 2 days, and we're going to be finished with that. Okay, so today's agenda, as you're going to be able to see here, guys, is the following. We're going to start with the book. We're going to finish the book activity. Once we finish the book activity, we're going to retouch the topic, story elements. Yeah, you remember with story elements, we saw them for a little bit. What does that mean? That we're going to be watching 2 stories. The stories are of the same person, but they're going to be combined. So once we watch them, we're going to talk about the first one. I'm going to help you with the first one. The second one, you're going to figure it out all on your own. That doesn't mean I'm giving you extra work, guys. This is not extra work. This is the work we would have done. We're just going to simply talk about it, and you're going to talk and tell me what the story or what the story elements were. Alrighty? Alright, guys. So before we begin with everything, I hope that you had a very wonderful, wonderful Father's Day. I hope that you enjoyed it, that if you got to spend time with your dad, or if he was working, that maybe you helped your mom cook him something very nice for this very special day. As we showed, or as I showed you the video, why we celebrate Father's Day, I hope that you understand that our dads and our moms are just as important. Sometimes, unfortunately, we don't have our dads anymore, but it's okay because they are still part of an important life. Alrighty, guys? So I hope that you enjoyed today. Again, the agenda is going to be book, then we're going to be doing the review, story elements, the videos within that review, and then after that, we're going to go to the hygiene part. Once we are done with the hygiene part, that's going to be all, guys. Alrighty? So let's go ahead and get started with the book activity. All right, so the book, I don't have it with me right now, but you're going to see it as well somewhere around here. And it's going to be pages 258 and 259. Those activities are going to be super, super short. All right, on page 258, guys, it says, how can I solve a conflict? A conflict is when you're not agreeing with somebody on maybe some type of topic. For example, what music do you want to listen to, Gerardo? What music do you like to listen to? And he's just going to give me a song. Rock. I don't like rock, so no, we're not going to listen to rock. I'm going to listen to pop. Do you like pop?
Not much.
Okay, so we're not agreeing. I don't want to listen to rock, and he doesn't want to listen to pop. So guys, now we are having a conflict. What are we going to listen to? Because we're going to be riding in a car for a long time, and now, I don't want to listen to rock. I don't like it. And he doesn't like pop. So how can we agree? How can we solve our conflict? Well, we can talk to each other. Let's read the following page. You have learned that conflicts can happen as a result of having different opinions, not knowing how to listen to others, or being intolerant. Being intolerant, guys, it means that you don't really listen to them, that you only think of you. Remember the videos that we watched of the bunny, Howard? Yeah, he's very intolerant. It's only what he wants to do. It is important to know how to avoid conflicts, but also what we can do to solve them. So again, I have a conflict with Gerardo, with my cameraman. He doesn't want to listen to the same thing I do. We're not being intolerant. We just have to listen to each other. You will create a poster to show everything you have learned about conflict prevention and solutions. It says working groups. We're not going to work in groups. We're just going to brainstorm, guys, okay? The ideas, and then you're going to make a poster in a little space that you have there of how you can solve problems. All right. So what is one of the things that you can do so you can solve problems? Can you help me, handy dandy? Cameraman? How can we solve problems?
By talking about it.
Talking about it. Another way is listening. For example, he can tell me, for example, he's going to tell me why rock is good, why we should listen to rock. For example, he's going to give me one thing why we should listen to rock, okay?
Because I like the solo guitars.
Okay, so he likes to listen to the guitar solos. He's giving me his point of view, and I can say, well, pop also has guitar solos, and and we can talk about what the difference is, and maybe we can listen to maybe one song, or we can make a compromise. Okay, Gerard, how about we listen to 2 rock songs and then to 2 pop songs, and then again 2 rock songs and then 2 pop songs? Would that be okay?
Okay.
Okay, so we worked our problem out. We have a solution. Guys, sometimes when you have a problem, for example, hey, you took my pencil. No, this is my pencil. No, it's my pencil. Give me back my pencil. When you're fighting like this, you're not talking, you're fighting. You're not talking about it. You can say, okay, look and see if you have a name on the pencil. If the pencil doesn't have a name, okay, you can take it to your mom or to a teacher, and you can say, Miss, can you see whose pencil this is? And maybe you can give details and you can solve your problems together. But if you fight, you're not getting anywhere. Things are getting out of control when you're fighting, okay? So guys, we can do this type of things when we are, solving a problem. So maybe one of them is talking about it, like my handy dandy Gerardo said. The other one is listening to what the other person has to say, breathing, and not getting angry right away. Be calm and try to solve a problem, as civilized as we are. Because remember, we are in a community, so we're supposed to help each other out, okay? So maybe in the space right here, you can tell me what, okay? So draw and color what you think. Alrighty, guys, to do this poster, you're going to have, you're going to draw and color. I'm going to give you 5 minutes so you can think of ways that you can solve a problem, all right? So you have 5 minutes. All right, see you in 5 minutes. Alright guys, now that we finished doing that part, we're going to go to the very next one. We're going to go to page 259. Yeah, we're almost done with the activities, okay? So it says, we're going to share your poster. You're not going to share your poster with the classroom because we're not in class. You're going to share the poster with, your mom, your grandma. I'm going to share my poster with Gerardo and maybe my family members. Look at the different posters. Remember, if somebody, for example, me, I put listening and talking. Maybe the way you solve your problems is by sharing. There are many different ways. Share and discuss each in class. Listen to the ideas from the other teams and write down what you think is the best way to prevent and solve conflicts. Well, to prevent conflicts is, I think, the best way to listen to each other. I think that's the best way. But you can write something else. Okay. Now, we're going to go to this part, guys. I know that I have it here. I don't have my book with me, but we're going to see it right here. Alrighty? So we're going to have can I, and then we have a question mark, and it says according to me. According to me is what I think. According to my classmates, you're not going to do that part. You're going to leave it blank because we're not in class. And according to my teacher, also guys, you're going to leave it blank. You're only going to do the part according to you. And you have a face like this, and then you have a face like this. That's thinking. The one that's thinking is not so sure. The one that's smiling is that you are. Okay? Make an inference about stories. So can you make an inference on what the story is going to be about? Can you predict on what the story is going to be about by looking at the picture? Me, I think I can. So I'm going to put a check in the smiley face. Read the story and answer the comprehension check questions. Okay guys, now this is you. When you read a story, when you listen to a story, do you understand everything? If you understand everything and you can answer questions, you're going to put a check, which I think most of you can do. If you're not sure or sometimes maybe, okay, you can put a little face like this, okay? Ask and answer questions using the simple present. All right, guys, so here, because we weren't together, we have talked about it before, but we need to work on it a little more. You're going to put what you believe. We're going to keep touching the subject of simple present, so don't worry. Ask and answer questions using the auxiliary can. So for example, when I ask you, can you jump? What do you reply? Do you reply just yes, or do you reply it completely? If you can, if you say yes, I can, then you put a check in the smiley one. If you can't, or if you're not sure, you put an X in the one with the face. Write a descriptive paragraph, revise it, and make the necessary corrections. This one, guys, is something we're going to be going back because I know that descriptive paragraph, maybe for just one day we saw it, it's not going to be enough. So we're going to go back to this. So I think you're going to put the face where you have it like this. Write a descriptive paragraph, revise it, and make corrections. I think it's the same one. You have the same one right there. Ask and answer questions about animals. This one we did on Friday, when I can say, this is an animal that is small, it's brown, it barks, barks, woof, woof, woof. That's barking. Can you answer questions when somebody gives you hints? I think most of you can. Practice the alphabet spelling correctly. For example, I know that we used to do this in pre-first. So we used to do it in Kinder 3. When I say cat and you say C-A-T, cat, you used to spell. Most of you can do that, so you have no problem spelling. Alrighty, guys? So you're gonna write what you think is important. Alrighty, guys, so that was the end of today. I guess you know we're now finished with the book. We're not gonna be using this book. We're going to be using the last activities from the last book. You should already have them already in your houses. Your parents came and picked them up on the 16th and the 17th. So guys, we're going to go back to those pages next week, alrighty? Alright guys, this week guys, I'm sorry. We're going to go back to these pages tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Alright, today we're just going to reviewing story elements. Alrighty guys. So do you remember what story elements are? No? Yes? You don't. Okay, so let's review. Story elements. Remember that there is the characters. We have main character. We have protagonist and antagonist. Main character and protagonist are kind of the same thing. The antagonist is the villain or the person that's doing something back in the story. We have then the setting, where the story takes place, okay? We have where. Then we have the plot. The plot is what obstacles or major events happen in the story. So if I'm talking about a story about, I don't know, a dog that learned how to jump very high, what are the obstacles? That he didn't know how to jump. What did he have to overcome? Learning how to do it, okay? So that would be an obstacle. The conclusion, remember that the conclusion is, how did the story end, okay? So how did the story finish? Was it a happy ending? Was it a sad ending? What type of story was it? Alrighty guys, so we saw some of those, alright? We saw the setting, the plot. Remember, setting is when and where. So you can say the forest, or sometimes maybe it doesn't tell you where, but it tells you what time. If a story tells you what time, that is okay. You can do that as well. That is part of the setting. Alright guys, so like I mentioned, we're going to watch a very short video, and the video is going to have 2 stories, okay? It's going to have 2 stories in it. You're going to watch the whole thing. It has part 1 and part 2. I'm going to help you, and I'm going to answer some questions about part 1. Alright, so part 1, the first question is, let's see if you can figure it out. Who is the story about? Who is the story about? Who? Who is the story about? Setting. Where does the story take place? In what time? If it says a time, perfect. Then plot. What are some obstacles or major events that happen in story 1 and in story 2? You can tell me that. And what is the conclusion? All right? So the conclusion is going to be the end of both stories because they're linked together. Alrighty guys, so let's go ahead and watch this video, and then when you come back, we're going to talk about it. Alrighty? So see you in a few.
Hercules was the greatest of the mythological Greek heroes. He was famous for his incredible strength, courage, and intelligence. Hercules is actually his Roman name. The Greeks called him Heracles. He was a demigod actually, which means that he was half god and half human. His father was Zeus, the king of the gods, and his mother was Alcmene, a human. Hercules was very strong, even as a baby. When Hera, Zeus's wife, came to know of her husband's illegitimate child, she wanted to kill the baby. Hera sent 2 large snakes into the crib. The snakes slid towards the bed. The viper who was out in front stuck out his tongue and hissed. It reared its head. That was the last thing it did, because the boy shot out his hand and grabbed it by the neck. The other snake slid swiftly across the floor towards him, but the child grabbed that one too and began to shake it violently. The nurse heard the commotion and came rushing into the nursery, but it was too late, for the snakes, Hercules, had killed them both. Hercules grew into a fine teenager, and he was without doubt the strongest man on earth. One day, he met the Oracle of Delphi to get some advice. The oracle told Hercules that he must serve King Eurystheus for 10 years and do any task the king asked of him. Hercules obeyed and met King Eurystheus. The king was jealous of Hercules and did not like him at all. So the king gave Hercules 12 impossible tasks to do, hoping that Hercules would fail. Task 1. Eurystheus told Hercules about a lion that was the cause of suffering in the land of Nemea. It was attacking not only animals, but people as well. Hercules' first task was to hunt and kill the Nemean lion. Hercules traveled to Nemea. The local people showed him in the direction of the lion's cave. When Hercules reached the cave, he hid behind a boulder and waited for the lion to come out. He waited and waited, but the lion didn't show up. When it was evening, the lion yawned and walked out of the cave. The Nemean lion had huge teeth and skin so tough that it could not be pierced by arrows. Everyone in the land of Nemea was scared of it. Many hunters had tried to kill the beast, but none had succeeded. Hercules took aim and shot an arrow. It flew towards the lion and caught it in the chest, but instead of piercing his skin, the arrow merely bounced off. The lion looked with curiosity at his bold attacker. Who was this fellow? No ordinary human for sure. Seeing that Heracles was as strong and fierce as himself, he decided to retreat into his cave. Hercules uprooted a tree and sealed the entrance so that the lion may not escape. Once he was inside the cave, he saw the gleaming green eyes of the lion waiting to attack him. The lion was strong, but Hercules was stronger. Hercules pounced on the lion. He grappled and wrestled with the man-eating beast and finally defeated it, killing it with his bare hands. And that's how Hercules completed his first task. If you have ever seen a picture of Hercules, you will know that he liked to wear a lion skin over his shoulders. And this was the skin of the Nemean lion. King Eurystheus was not very happy when he saw Hercules walking into his palace wearing the lion skin. Hercules had completed his second labor by killing the Nemean lion. So this time, he decided to give Hercules a tougher task. Hercules was given the task to fight another terrible creature known as the Lernaean Hydra. The Hydra was a big snake, a very big one, and it had 9 heads. Task 2, the Lernaean Hydra. The king knew that anyone who approached the monster's den in the swamp would be killed by the snake's poisonous breath. Also, if anyone tried to cut off any of its heads, 2 more would grow in its place. The Hydra was indeed a fierce opponent. Even Hercules did not think he could fight this monster on his own. He enlisted the help of his nephew, Iolaus. Hercules was very clever too. When they reached the swamp, he could sense the poisonous air inside the den. They realized the danger and did not enter the den. They lured the monster out of the swamp instead. Hercules did not waste any time, and he jumped into action. Hercules fought the Hydra fiercely, and each time he chopped off one of its heads, Iolaus burned it before another set of heads sprouted out. Hercules and Iolaus clubbed off the monster's 9 heads, but one head refused to die, so Hercules crushed that head and buried it deep in the ground. He returned to Eurystheus with the news of his victory, but the king was not satisfied. "You did not fight Hydra on your own," he said, "and so the labor does not count." Hercules' next task was to bring the sacred deer of Artemis, which had iron feet and golden horns. Task 3. The Ceryneian Hind. The Ceryneian hind was not a beast like the Nemean lion or the hydra. It was a noble creature with iron feet and golden horns that could outrun an arrow. The sacred hind belonged to Artemis, goddess of wilderness. Hercules set out to hunt down and capture the golden stag of Artemis. Hercules spent almost a year wandering the forest in search of the hind. Finally, one night, while the stag was sleeping, Hercules crept up to the sleeping animal and caught it by throwing a net over the sleeping animal. At once, Artemis appeared before Hercules. Even though Artemis was a goddess, she feared the strength of the son of Zeus. She brought Apollo, her twin brother, along for moral support. Hercules apologized for his deeds. He then explained how he needed to capture the deer for completing the tasks given to him. Artemis consulted with her brother and agreed on a compromise. Hercules was allowed to take the sacred deer to Eurystheus alive, but then he must let it go. Hercules agreed. He returned to the city gates with the deer. He knew if the deer didn't return safely, Artemis would hurt him. So thinking fast, Hercules agreed to give the king the deer under one condition, that the king come outside the city gates and get the deer himself. The king agreed and arrived at the city gates. Just as the king was about to take the hind, Hercules let it go, and the deer sprinted back to Artemis. Eurystheus was furious, but Hercules told the king that he was not fast enough, and that's why the hind escaped. And that's how mighty Hercules completed his third labor.
Alright guys, so you watched this first video. Well, you watched these two videos. I like this story and I wanted something a little different because most of the stories that we watched, well, they're a little long. We might be watching some other longer videos, but not today, okay? So, what was the story about? Who was the story about? Can you tell me who the story was about? Yes, it was very simple. His name was Hercules. Remember, we watched a Greek mythology story. So the story was about Hercules. Can you tell me other characters that were in there? Or is there an antagonist? And yes, there is an antagonist in the story, the king. The king is jealous, está envidioso. He has envidia towards Hercules. So he doesn't like Hercules because Hercules is strong. Hercules can, it's half god, half human. So he is not a god, he's not Dios, but he's also not, human all the way. So that's why this person, this king, is very jealous of him. Tiene mucha envidia, okay? Celoso. All right, so what are the plots? What is the first plot in the story, okay? What is the major complication, the conflict, or major events that Hercules has to oversee? Well, the first thing in the first story, he has to fight a lion. That is the first major event. He talks to an oracle, and the oracle says he has to obey anything that the king says. And because the king is very jealous, he has to go and fight a monster. But the king doesn't do it because he's nice. He wants to eliminate Hercules. So that is his first task. How many tasks does Hercules have to do? Do you remember how many things he has to do? Do you? How many?
12.
Yes, he has to do 12 tasks. So the first one is defeating the lion. Remember the lion, the description that it gave? Why did I put this video? Because the description was very well. Remember the skin on the lion? Was it soft that an arrow could penetrate the skin? No, it was hard. It was a very hard skin. When he shot the arrows, they just boing, bounced it. They just bounced off the lion. So it wasn't a very soft, normal lion. This was a very hard lion, and his teeth were really long. So he was a very ferocious lion, guys. So was it an easy task? No. Did Hercules complete the task that he was given? Yes, he completed. So that was his first major event. The antagonist, the villain in the story, we do have one. Who is the villain in the story? I would say that is the king. You can put the lion or you can put the king. Why the lion? Well, the lion is terrorizing the whole village. You know, the lion is eating people, it's attacking. So yes, he is a villain, but he's an animal. But the king, he wants to get rid. He wants Hercules dead. So he's doing it to, he's having conflict with Hercules, with the protagonist, with the main character. Alrighty, guys? So, now, in the second one, guys, I'm not going to give you the second one because I want you to think of your own. Think of these questions. We already know who the main character is already. We know that the main character is Hercules. We know that the antagonist is still in the first one, the lion. But the king is also an antagonist because he doesn't like Hercules. Who is the other antagonist in part 2? There's another antagonist. Now, the plot. The plot changed. In the first one, the major event that Hercules had to overcome was defeating the lion. In the second one, he has 2 more tasks. What is the other task? Can you tell me? Do you remember? If you need to watch this again, go ahead. But he has 2 more tasks to do. And he does one, and he does the other one too. What is the conclusion? Is the king happy at the end when he sees that Hercules finishes everything and does everything he's asking him, no matter what it is? Is the king happy? No, he's not happy because he doesn't want Hercules to win. He wants Hercules to fail. He's putting impossible tasks for him. Sometimes Hercules thinks that he's not going to be able to do them because they're very difficult, So that's why. That's one of the major conflicts. The conclusion is that the king is never happy because he wants to see Hercules fail. He wants to see Hercules derrotado. So he doesn't like that, guys, already? So this was part of story elements, guys. I hope that you remember. I hope that you review everything that we're doing right now. This part, it should be really easy. Again, if you remember the main character, the antagonist, the protagonist, who the story is about. The story is about Hercules and the tasks he has to do. What is the title? The title of the story, it's right there in the beginning. Okay, there's part 1 and part 2. And what are the plots? Well, the plots change. Even though it is a story of major things, if we're watching the whole movie of Hercules, the plot is going to be very different. But I would think that the plot is that he has to overcome the 12 tasks that this evil king is making him do. Okay? And then the conclusion, well, in these 2 stories, is that the king is not happy with Hercules because he's not failing, because he's not able to prove that Hercules is a failure. So that is one of the things that he doesn't like. Alright, guys? Now, the thing that we're going to do now, or that I'm going to remind you of, is of all the things that we have to do when we go back to school. We're going to have to keep a safe distance. As you can see, I am in a different place right now. You probably noticed. But guys, we've talked about this, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that we need to do, and I'm of course going to show you how to wash your hands properly. Alrighty? So guys, give me a few minutes and I'll be right back. Hi guys, so as we've been talking about for the past couple of days, we're going to continue talking about hygiene, the hygiene that we have to do at school. Alrighty, so we already know this, guys. We already know that we have to maintain social distancing. We're not going to be able to be beside each other. Why? Well, because, we're trying to stay as much distance away from the person beside us. Why? Because we don't want to get sick. We know that we're going to be going back to school, but we cannot do this, okay? Nos que me pica la nariz. Yeah. Alright, so we know that we're going to be going back to school, guys, but we're not going to be able to go back to the way we were. Remember? You used to be able to share food, or you used to be able to touch your hand or touch your friend's hand, like, I don't know, for example, Paula, you have something right here. No, you can't touch somebody else's face. Guys, when we go back to school, we're going to have to use these. And yes, I know that they are different colors that you've seen them, but the way you put them on, you already know. So you're supposed to put them on like this, and you hold them from the inside and you pull them, okay? And it's supposed to cover your nose and it's supposed to cover your mouth, okay? It's supposed to cover. You're not going to be touching this all the time. Mine is clean because mine is at home. I am just showing you this so you know. You can't be touching your face or going like this and then putting it back on and then going like this, touching your face. Try to avoid that, okay? So if you feel like this is going down, because se les está bajando, you pull it from here and you pull it back down. You do not go like this and put it on your face again, okay? And when you remove it, you don't remove it like this. You take it from under your thing. See, you're not touching it. You touch it in, if yours is a washable, if yours is something that you can wash. For example, mine is a discard one. When it gets dirty, I throw it in the trash. Mine. Yours is not like that, okay? I also shown you guys that I'm going to have this, okay? I'm going to have this around. This is mine. This is mine from my house, but I'm going to be taking this, and this is a house. This is my house. So I'm going to be going around spraying it, okay? Just to make sure that the air is still pure. In some moments, I'm going to open the window and I'm going to let the bacteria come out. I'm going to spray this. And then we're going to do this. Every time we go out and every time we come in, I'm going to open the windows so the air will ventilate. I'm going to be spraying this also so it can be a ventilated area. If you do not want to wear this, or you don't feel like this because it's itchy or because you're going to be touching it, it's okay, right? You can wear gloves. For example, for the ones, I know that some parents, this is a glove. You can put a glove on. I don't know. And you can just write with them. It's going to be very, very simple. You can write with them. And when you're finished, you can just throw it away. Again, when you're throwing this away, you don't go like this. This glove right here is clean. This is a clean glove. That's why I can touch it. But if I'm going to go out, if I'm going to be outside, maybe to Walmart. Let's pretend I'm going to Walmart. I'm not going to touch this. I'm not going to be touching my face when this is dirty. No, I grab it from right here, from the inside, you see? And I pull. And I pull. And this goes in the trash. Alrighty, guys? This is a clean glove. This is a clean glove, guys. So I can turn it back and I can reuse it. But because mine is clean. When you go somewhere and if your mom and dad is telling you to not be close to somebody, to not be touching your face, try to do that, guys, because it's going to keep you healthy and safe. Again, like I mentioned to you before, we're not going to be able to share our food. It's not going to be like, hey, Miss Monse, you want a cookie? Or here, Miss Monse, I want a cookie. Here, it's a cookie. Sorry, guys. Not trying to be rude, but we're not going to be able to take anything. Why? Because I don't want to make your food, I guess you could say, dirty if I have dirty hands or if I forget to wash my hands. And I don't want you guys, to do the same. So we're all going to keep our stuff to ourselves, even if sometimes we have water. And for example, somebody asked me for water.
Can I have water?
Yes, no, this is incorrect. You cannot share your water. Sorry, Hera, I can't share my water with you. So he would have to understand. He would have to get a cup, or we would have to call his mom so he can get water. Alrighty, guys? You cannot drink because I'm putting my mouth. I'm putting my mouth on this, and you guys then are gonna put your mouth. And if I'm sick, for example, right now, if I was sick, then you would get sick because of me. Just like always, I'm going to have the spray, the disinfecting spray, and we're going to keep cleaning the tables. I'm going to keep spraying this around. We're going to wash our hands. We're going to have soap. I think I mentioned to this for you guys. I don't think it's going to be very different for you because you used to always see me, remember, with the baby wipes. I used to clean my iPad, and I used to clean my phone, and I used to clean my place because I don't like it to be dirty, and I always try to keep your stuff clean as well. This is one of the reasons why I always told you, keep your backpacks in the correct place, keep your waters, your food, all in one place, because we're going to try to avoid our waters being contaminated. I cannot leave my water like this. I'm gonna put it on the table and it's gonna be like this. This is not okay, guys. You always have to put the lid back on it. If you have your lunch box, put your water, close it well. It doesn't leak. Put it in your water, in your backpack or in your lunch case. Alrighty, guys? We cannot have waters rolling all the time like we used to. Alright, this is something that we have to do. This is something that we have to take care of each other now. We cannot leave this, as well as food. When you finish eating, when we go back to school, there's not gonna be any leftover. So for those guys, if you ate y no te lo terminaste a la hora del recreo de la comida, the food is going in the trash, guys. We're not gonna keep food. Why? Because I'm going to be spraying this around, and this is not something you can eat. This is not for your mouth, okay? So if I spray it, the food is going to go in the trash. Please, please, guys, if you only eat one doblada, one empanada, one picada, if you only eat one, only buy one. Don't buy two if you're gonna leave it. Don't buy it. Just buy the one that you're gonna eat, okay? Because remember that we don't have space in our classroom. We don't have the space to put the food. You've seen our classroom. We don't have the space. So guys, you have to finish your food now, okay? You're not gonna be able to give it to somebody else. Why am I telling this? I know that I've been telling you this for the past couple of days, that you're probably tired of hearing this, but this is something that we're going back. We're not going back to normality. We're not going to be able to hug each other. We're not going to be able to be close to each other, to share our food. Things are changing. We're going to be wearing face masks all day. We're going to be wearing this all the time. We're only going to take it off when we eat, and we're going to put it back on after we finish. We're going to wash our hands. We are not going to brush our teeth. This time, because there were so many girls that were, boys and girls, that were going to the bathroom to brush their teeth, this time, guys, we're not doing that for a while until the coronavirus thing is going down. So we're not going to be able to brush our teeth. So guys, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to take some measurements. Things are going to be changing. We're going to be cleaning constantly where we're going to be, not because you're dirty, but just because we were trying to eliminate the germs. All right? So please, 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 guys, understand that this is something that we have to do. If you want to wear gloves to school, you can. If you want to wear this to school, you have to. If you want to wear the mask, you can do that as well. Alrighty? And you have to keep your distance. When we go to recess, we're not going to be able to be all close together. We're going to be separated from each other. And you might have to bring even a toy. You're going to bring a toy to play by yourself because, you know, being close right now is not something that we are going to be able to do. So guys, all these things are measurements to keep you happy, well, to keep you safe. More than anything, to keep you safe, to keep you from getting sick. All right, guys, so like last time, I'm going to show you how to wash your hands. Alrighty, so see you in a few. We're going to wash our hands, and guys, after that, you're going to be finished for the day. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, guys, so first of all, we know that we have to open the water and we get our water damp. This is not clean. We then have to get the soap, and we get plenty of soap, as you can see. And we do this first. We see all this soapiness? Okay, now you go like this, and you go like this. Remember that you're trying to get everything. You go in between your fingers. But this part is not clean, so you have to touch it as well. Go all around, all around, all around. And you make sure that you have soap all over the place. If you want, you can wash your nails. And when you're finished, then you rinse. Then you can rinse, guys. Make sure that you remove all of the soap from your hands. Okay? You remove all of the soap. And when you finish, that's it. And you just rinse your hands. And then you just get a towel and you get a towel and you dry. Okay? Alrighty guys, so that is it. That is how you have white, clean hands.